Okay, this is Corporal Murray with the police department. How can I help you?
Okay, what's your badge number?
7946.
I just want a little bit more education on stalking and the process of reporting stalking and the procedure. So
Okay, do you have a case report already?
Well, I just have questions. Is it okay if I ask questions? They said that you'd be able to answer them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you're being stalked, I get stalked relentlessly. So I'm just not quite sure on what to do to form a pattern of this repeated stalking.
Okay, do you have any saved text messages or like a phone call log of the number that's calling you?
I have a video diary actually on YouTube.
Video on YouTube?
Yeah, it's even better than the saved phone calls and all that.
Okay, but do you have those though?
Okay, you don't want the videos? I thought videos would be even better than phones and texts.
No, that's like something else I would want, but like I'm asking if you...
Oh, no, I don't. No, I don't have text or anything like that. I have had them in the past. It's on the YouTube channel too.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, what do you do when you're actively being stalked at the moment?
Okay. You're saying you're being stalked right now by the individual?
I'm just wanting to know, what do you do if someone is stalking you at one particular time? What do you, and what was your position again?
Corporal.
Okay, so you're corporal. So if someone is actively stalking me, what am I supposed to do?
One of the things you should do is call 911 if the person's actively stalking you and you actually have the individual kind of in line of sight, so we can kind of stop and identify that person.
Okay.
So all we need to stop an individual is reasonable suspicion. And if you've pointed out and stated, hey, that individual has been doing, whatever it may be, followed me for the last 3 blocks, I've told the person to leave me alone, but they continue to engage, in any type of dialogue with me that's unwanted, and continuous and annoying and harassing, and that's another reason why we can stop that individual and have them identified.
Okay. Well, I've had to endure relentless stalking and harassment at a multitude of shelters and other locations. Just relentless stalking, and it's on camera footage.
Okay.
So it's just been, just really devastating to have to endure this in my environments and try to make this an everyday part of life with all the torment. So I'd like the police department to investigate why these armies full of people stalk me and harass me, which is on camera footage.
Okay. Now, when you say camera footage, is it on cell phone? Is it on a location?
They have cameras at these locations. If all one would have to do is just follow me around, like the stalkers do, and you can see that I'm actively being stalked by a lot of people. They do strange things, which I've compiled evidence on my YouTube channel I'd like to give you. You said if I had text and other different things, I think video footage is probably better than text.
It's all good.
Well, let me give you my YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Okay. I did a report earlier today with the police, and I asked them to help me get in a safe environment, and they walked off. They said they'd give me help, but wouldn't give me any resources.
What time was that at?
I think that was about 3 or 4.
3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Right. So does it change, Corporal, if it's police that are stalking and security?
No, because it's still investigated if that's, a matter that, well, I guess it would depend on, if they were sent to a call to you. But
no. I'm only asking questions about stalking that is not answering a call, but actually committing crimes and stalking someone. Okay. So what do you do then? Do you still investigate officers that choose to stalk?
If officers are stalking, that would be something that Internal Affairs could look into.
Oh, the police aren't investigated for committing crimes? So it's a different procedure if police are committing crimes?
No, that is what Internal Affairs does. They investigate.
Oh, I'm just trying to see, because if I'm actively being stalked by a civilian, I call 911. But if I'm actively being stalked by police, I have to go through Internal Affairs?
Well, we would file the report, and then if you have the name of the officers that you believe is stalking you, then yes, that's something that they could look into. Okay, so you have my YouTube channel. So what do I do now? Okay, is there anything specific on that YouTube channel that I'm looking for?
Like relentless harassment, petty harassment. I've had armies full of people that slander me to the degree of taking kids, my job, damaged property left and right, thefts.
Okay.
Attacks,
All right.
robberies, pickpocketing, hit and runs.
Is any of that stuff in the nature that law enforcement officers are doing to you?
Oh yeah, I have 20 something false arrests. All
Okay.
different. I'm targeted. So each location I go, I'm targeted by police, and they hijack communities and list the people in harassment schemes. So
Okay.
each
Yeah.
shelter that I'm living at, on camera footage, these people are involved in petty harassment and other schemes. Like that,
Gotcha.
like 3 or 4 people at one time will stare at me, and then they do other petty things. But I don't even want to communicate. I just like you to see it
Okay.
because it doesn't sound realistic. But they watch me, and then they wait for the perfect time to do these petty things to startle me. So I have maybe 6, 7 people at the most, probably sometimes even more than that at one time, monitoring me to conspire with this petty harassment.
Okay.
So
Let
it's
me.
the intent is to have me in a constant state of fear. So if you're in an environment and you're just trying to relax, and then you have these people monitoring you and doing these petty things, it scares you. That's the intent. So you're never comfortable because you're watching these group of people conspire with abusing you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'm just trapped in it year after year. So I've fled to another location in Austin. And if they let me in the shelter, because they keep scamming to keep me in shelters, I have to endure this in shelters. And they demand that I don't record armies, groups full of people trying to block my path and doing other petty things. If you never experienced it, you don't realize how devastating and harmful that is emotionally, because it's group full of people torturing you.
Okay.
And then they just treat you like you don't have value, and armies full of people just, mistreat you, and you're just trapped in it. Having a whole group of people conspire with your abuse and torment is really, hard to endure.
So let me explain then, like a kind of like the two processes on how that would work. So if it's a citizen, civilian, of anything of that nature that is doing such acts, then the police would investigate that. If it's an accusation towards you believe the police officer is doing such things, then it would be like a two-part investigation on our police department. We have internal affairs to see whether the officer is violating policy, and then special investigations unit, they're separate. They're the ones that investigate officers for any criminal matter.
Okay, because I'm not really getting the proper understanding to how I can report active crimes police or committee,
Okay.
because they're the main suspect around all the other activity. If I
Okay.
can't report police enlisting civilians in crimes, then they just keep getting away with it like they have been years. These
Well,
people aren't doing this on their own. Crooked police are patrolling communities, enlisting people to do this.
Let me ask you this: is this the first time that you've actually filed a report with a police officer?
No, when I was staying at the Sonesta, was a lot of abuse at the Sonesta Hotel, which I've had to endure. And there was a scheme to put me out at 1 a.m., which put my safety at risk.
Is that
So-
here in Austin?
I'm sorry?
Is that here in Austin?
It is. So with the hotel removed a microwave and tried to charge me $10 for it, then did not want me to have a working remote, slandered me and said I was smoking weed, and they charged me extra fees. Police wouldn't do an investigation on why that hotel staff was trying to defraud me out of funds, as well as an army full of other locations.
Okay.
So I thought that if you deliberately tried to defraud someone out of funds and slandered them, that would be criminal. But the police told me that's civil.
Yeah, slander goes into the civil courts. That's not really a criminal.
Oh, I
charge.
think the disconnect is that she lied to defraud me out of funds purposely. I think that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
Because if people keep getting away with scheming to defraud me out of funds, price gouging, and all the other things that they do to defraud me out of funds, they just keep getting away with it. But I thought that if a person blatantly lied to defraud you out of funds, that was a crime.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit different. You're talking about like slandering your name or anything of that
I
nature.
think we're having a disconnect. A person blatantly lying to defraud me out of funds.
Now, as far as to like they made a false report about you and then it cost you money. Is that correct?
No. I'm saying that someone blatantly lied to defraud me out of funds with the intent to defraud me out of funds.
Okay.
The intent was to make me lose money and defraud me out of funds. That's what the lie was regarding, to defraud me out of funds.
Okay. Well, Ms. Clark, let me get some information from you. Do you have a middle name, ma'am?
No. Here's the thing, I'm fleeing for my life, and all the police department seem to do is just leave me in it and just disregard the fact that I have fled for my life and I'm bombarded with all this madness. They
Where
just
are you?
listen and leave me in it.
Well, where are you residing at right now?
I
And
don't have a place to go. I should be in witness protection, but everywhere they just can't do it and just leave me in it. It just
Okay.
can't be done. Witness protection or domestic violence organization, none of that can be done. All these years.
Okay. Where were you staying at prior to?
Well, I had my own place, and then the Tasca police lied, and then I lost everything, decades of furniture that I've had years since my first apartment. Some certain things, knickknacks that I've had years, I lost. I lost, a lot during that. So then they kept, false arrests and taking everything. Every time I build up nest eggs, there's scams to take it. I'm repeatedly defrauded out of funds, like the Sinesta worker lied to keep me from, to defraud me out of funds. That happens repeatedly. Armies full of people lied to defraud me out of funds.
Gotcha. Okay.
But here's the thing: why don't the police department protect anyone anymore, or the government? Why do they just leave someone targeted, getting violated with 26 false arrests, armies full of people mistreating them and tormenting them, defrauding them out of funds, CPS lying and covering for their child's abuse, and government officials that took bribes to keep me away from my kids? Why would the government just leave someone in there and not render
Well,
them any kind of remedy for wrecked up felonies?
gotcha. Well, as far as in regards to that, I know the police department doesn't necessarily have like a protection program or anything of that nature. I know by our staffing levels, we wouldn't even have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it just can't be done, so you just sit in it. You would think that police would investigate to get that person protected, but I guess if that person, the police department, was an accomplice to abuse, they wouldn't
Yeah.
want that party to get protected.
Okay.
But if the police department chooses to be accomplices to abuse, what are their consequences for leaving someone in jeopardy year after year? So that's the problem, is that the police department repeatedly just lets me sit in abuse and pretends like that there's no way that I can escape it.
Gotcha. Well, I have a couple questions here for you, Ms.
Well,
Clark.
I would like to concentrate on saving my life and, the channels. Are you able to do investigation work to see how I can get in with this protection? Or try to do law enforcement to see how I can be protected?
I'm actually looking into that right now. I'm looking through
Okay.
my records, and it looks like you filed a report already today.
It just really appears like the police department is accomplices to my abuse because they deprived me of the right to be safe.
I'm looking at the report right here. Like you
We were deflecting on the fact that I said I wanted to know if there's anything that you can do as law enforcement for me to be in witness protection or be in a safe environment, because
far
I
as
can't
it
find
works-
it on my own. So I'm asking maybe law enforcement, since I've been robbed of it and no one knows how I can be safe, period, on the planet. Maybe I can reach out to law enforcement so they can investigate and figure out how I can, because I haven't found it in all these years.
Well, I'm not sure in that regards because we don't have a. But know that an officer Reed did make a report.
We're
today.
deflecting again on if I'm being stalked by armies full of people, and then the 26 false arrests, hit and runs, and crimes to keep me away from my children. How do I get protected?
Well, to that, I gotta say, I'm gonna have to look at some of these YouTube videos and see what exactly is going on.
I can't get that question answered on how I can be protected.
But again, your protection isn't left up to the police department to provide security for you like a 24/7 type issue because we don't have a protection program.
Oh, okay. So if a woman is battered and she calls the police, you don't have a 24-hour protection for her? If she's trying to escape a husband or someone pulls a gun on her?
We'll respond to those incidents, but as far as to staying with you 24/7, no, ma'am, we don't have
Okay.
anything.
So if a woman is endangered and she says, police, I need help, my husband did this or that, what do you do?
But that's what I answered. I just said if it was a 911 call, then yes, we do respond to that. But for someone staying with you,
Okay, so
24/7,
what do you do?
That was the second time I just answered.
Oh, no, I'm not asking. If a woman is beat up and battered and has no place to go and she says, police, please help me. My husband did this. I need a place to go. What do you do?
Well, we could call a crisis counselor for you. They might have resources available for that.
Oh, a crisis counselor. Okay, so you think maybe, I'm not quite sure, I don't want to minimize anyone's issues because I know it's all serious, but...
Is that the situation that you're in? Is there a
Well, see, here's the thing with mine. See, with the thing with mine, I have 26 false arrests. There's hit and runs, crimes to keep me away from my children. See, the woman that has a gun, her husband pull a gun on her, she can call the police and get help. Police conspire with my abuse. So I have no remedy to get help because everyone leaves me in it. And then they abuse their badges and guns and list all organizations to ignore me and conspire with a psychological abuse and leave me in it. And list all locations to say they're full, so to scam me out of funds and conspire with torment and harassment. See, with the lady that has a husband that's abusive, she can get help. I can't. You there?
I am.
So, when you have law enforcement enforcing your abuse, going to each location you can flee from and listen to them to deny you of services, I think that's pretty serious.
Well, there's two options that you could do in that regard. You could either go down to the police department and file a complaint on whichever.
Well, here's the thing. See, like the lady we just discussed, she got placed in safety. I'm still not giving any remedy for safety. That's my main concern. And we're still deflecting on me being safe, like all other police departments do. The car just keeps going around in circles, sir, doing that. They do that. I haven't been able to get law enforcement for that either. But yes, like I was saying, so the woman that has the issue with the husband, there's crisis counseling. But that's withheld from me, and people try to deflect and leave me in my abuse for years.
There are, have you ever been to the Trinity Center?
I'm sorry, what is it called?
The Trinity Center?
See, here's the thing. The police department just goes behind me and has places deny me services.
Well, I mean, I don't have any control of whether they, further their services beyond their capabilities, but...
Okay, so everyone that I go to, ever since I've been targeted, is out of their scope.
Okay.
So who do I talk to about it?
You would have to talk to the actual owners of the business, maybe a supervisor down there.
But the police department is telling them to say it's out of their scope.
Okay. Well, they make that determination themselves, not us.
Okay, so if a situation is pretty critical, if the police department is enlisted in it, so there's no remedy for law enforcement being involved in someone's abuse, they just have to sit in it?
Well, that's what I was trying to answer, but you kept talking over me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so in regards to that, if you do have a law enforcement officer that you believe has committed such criminal acts against you, then there's two methods on how you can report that to have an investigation started in that.
I'm not being heard. That's probably why you felt that I was talking over you. The main point is to be safe because I've been robbed of it years, and we keep deflecting. I think there's a conflict of interest. I think you don't want me to be safe, and I'm trying to be safe. I think that's probably the problem. I think you're trying to sabotage my safety and deflect and blame me for the fact that you want to leave me in jeopardy.
All right, well, it doesn't seem like I can help you any
So
further.
now you have to leave me in jeopardy again? I thought that was criminal for you to leave someone in a crisis.
Would you like the police report of the number of the first report that you filed?
I don't know why everyone has to leave when I want to be safe. I thought that was criminal to abuse your badges and guns and keep someone from protection year after year. So I don't understand why people need to leave repeatedly over and over. Does that make them accomplices to my abuse?
Just a quick couple of questions before I leave, ma'am.
I'm just not getting clarity on why you would leave someone in jeopardy. Why the police department would repeatedly do that. You've given me no solutions outside of contacting internal affairs, but I'm asking for a safe environment. I'm asking for witness protection. And if you're law enforcement and you pretend like you don't know how to I'm just a normal human being. I don't know, the government agencies and how to combat the situation that I'm in. That's why I'm still in it. And when you depend on law enforcement, but they refuse to be law enforcement for you, that's pretty serious.
I'm going to add a report to what you've already stated.
But
today.
when you keep having people have to leave when it's time for me to be safe.
Reported has already been.
I just can't get safe, sir. You have to leave to keep me in jeopardy. I'm trying to get resources and witness protection, and everyone has to leave me in jeopardy. I've waited a long time for your call. I've waited years for information, and you have to leave me in jeopardy. Isn't that accountability for that? I want resources and help. They hung up.